fellow ink drinkers, and welcome back to the Blind Girls Book Talk podcast. We are two legally blind sisters who love reading and love books, and so what we've done is we've created this show in order to talk about that. We talk about a wide variety of bookish topics, and that can range from bad retellings of stories, book-to-movie adaptation comparisons, buddy reads, recent reads, bookish challenges. Really, the list does go on and on. And today, because last week's episode was very heavy, we decided to try to lighten things up a little bit, and we're going to be talking about our favorite mystery books. Now, mystery is a genre that I've really enjoyed for a long time, especially when I kind of made my switch from YA to adult books. A lot of times I found myself in like the mystery section. As much as I love my romance, I do have a healthy love and a healthy respect for mysteries. Also, it's probably the other genre that I read the most, to be perfectly honest with you. And of course, Belle is Belle.
What the heck's that supposed to mean?
It means that you really love mysteries a lot.
That is true. I do.
Yes. I think that's kind of your top genre.
It is. Here's the issue. Okay, I'm going to sell myself out currently. By the time of recording this episode, I haven't really been reading mysteries.
You're on a Wattpad kick.
No. I'm actually under a Kindle Unlimited kick.
Ah, are you under a spicy book kick?
I am. I don't like it. I don't know what it is. I think it's a lot of, with what's all happening right now and just graduating from college, my brain's kind of just like, I don't want to have to think.
Well, no, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So, but like I want to read, but I don't want to think. It has been my New Year's resolution to read every day for fun. Whether or not it's like a comic that I'm reading, it's something on Wattpad, or it's Kindle Unlimited, I have been reading something every day. And so far, I am now back on track for my book reading goal on Goodreads.
Fantastic.
I don't know how I managed that because I was like 6 books behind, but I got back on it. But I haven't been reading, and this is I'm gonna sound really bad. I'm also forgetting like every mystery I've ever read, even though all I've read are mysteries. Arya can attest, in high school all I read were mysteries.
Yeah.
Like I'd have a couple here and there that were, I don't know what you'd classify them as. I think it's just general fiction.
Possibly.
I'd categorize them as, like, they weren't like anything specific, and those were few and far between. I think there'd be a random romance book thrown in there every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mysteries and you go way back.
We go
and
way back.
The thing is, though, is that you try to solve the mystery as you go.
And I think that's currently why I haven't been reading them, because I need a brain break.
Whereas I don't. Like, I just kind of follow along, and I'm just
I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how anybody... If somebody can explain to me how you do that in normal words, not Arya's nonsense words, please do, because I would love to know how somebody can do that, because I have to sit there, and while I'm reading, I'm like, okay, how, who, what, where, why? Like, I'm playing Clue with a book.
You do that, whereas me, like...
That's why I kick your butt at Clue.
You know. The thing about it is that there are some books that I kind of... like, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit, but there are some books that I kind of like instantly am just like, I'm suspicious of this character, and then for some odd reason, I'm right. But that doesn't happen all the time, and I just like going along and watching the characters try to figure it out. Like, I'm very much more of a spectator in a mystery than I'm gonna solve it. because it's just more enjoyable for me in
Okay,
that way.
Watson. Oh, no, Mycroft. You're Mycroft.
I'm a Mycroft.
You sit back and let everybody else do the dirty work.
Exactly. I let everybody else do the dirty work. And I just sit back, watch it happen.
Your butt. or should we do spoiler warning?
Yes. So we are going to be getting into some light spoilers for the books that we are mentioning. So if it is a series or a book that you're planning to check out, you're warned. There will be some spoilers.
Skip ahead.
I'll try to put in some timestamps as to, when we start talking about different ones in this one, so people can avoid the spoilers if you so choose. So, that being said, would you like to kick it off, Belle?
I can. And no surprise here for my first three. I've talked about them all. But my first one, of course, has to be A Good Girl's Guide to Murder.
The series in general?
I can't speak for the third book. The first and second book, yes.
Okay.
Sure, we'll throw in the whole series. I haven't read the prequel or the last one yet, but...
Well, and that's okay. Like, honestly, I think you really like that author, and you really like that series.
Yeah, I'm waiting to read her... I have her next book, Five Survive, I think. I'm waiting to read that one. I also have that. I have not read it yet. Nobody shame me. I'm struggling.
Well, and that's okay.
I have to admit, though, she puts me through a tailspin. Because for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the person who did it, I was like, this person, they did it. Like, not even mid. It was like early on in the book. Like when they first really get into trying to solve the case, I'm like, this person did it. Like, I'm suspicious of this person. And then legit 5 chapters later, that person couldn't have done it. Like, that, like, wait, what? And then I get to the end of the book and that person did it. And I'm just like, what the heck?
Lol.
I was like, I had it right the first time. But you just threw things at me and then I got confused. And yeah. I mean, even like the second book, she pulls, like, it feels like she pulls things out of midair, but they make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, how? I want your brain. Let me sit in your brain for a little bit just so I can see how this happens. Because they're just good. They're good books.
Well, yeah, there is no surprise there. And for my first one, I'm going to do one that is also no surprise, and that is the Dresden Files. The only book that I haven't read is the most recent one, which is Peace Talks. And that's because I essentially binged the entire series over the course of like a year. And it's a lot of books. And I think I kind of burnt myself out on it. So I haven't gone back. Maybe one day I will to finish it out. But I really, really love the series. I love Harry Dresden, like Bob, like all of the characters are so awesome. The mysteries themselves, like, again, I just kind of go along. And like, honestly, if you are like me and you just kind of like to go along for the ride, the Dresden Files is kind of a top tier one to just kind of go along for the ride. Plus, he's a wizard. There's magic. Like, it does mix fantasy in with the mystery, but it's really good. It's good stuff. Like, I will always sing the praises of Dresden Files. Now, what's your next one?
Again, no surprise, the Inheritance Games series.
Yeah.
Again, haven't read the last book. Nobody come after me. But if you can handle some random stuff being thrown in, like a random explosion because of reasons, then yeah, I liked it. So far, I've liked it. I don't know what else to say about that one. I've talked about it a lot. We have the theory thing going.
We did.
It was all just a gigantic mystery, and it had puzzles.
Yes.
It made my heart happy.
It really did. It made your heart very happy.
It did.
Well, my next one is If you listen to this podcast, you might have heard this one come up a couple times, and that is the Thursday Murder Club. Now, I had started this series last year, or I kind of got through the books last year. I was very skeptical about them. First going in, only because my crazy aunt recommended these books and like sang their praises. And a lot of times when she recommends stuff, it's either hit or miss. And most of the time it's miss.
Anything she gives to me, it's been a miss.
For me, it's been hit or miss, but in this case,
lucky you.
This one is definitely a hit. It is essentially about a group of 5 elderly people who just solve crimes. They're all retired. They have all of these schemes because the one lady's like an ex-spy. So she just like sets up all of these schemes. It's amazing. Like, again, I love all of the characters. It's just so funny to just think of like 2 elderly ladies like trying to snoop at a police station. It's so good. Like, honestly, I do recommend this one. Again, it is another good one for if you just kind of want to go along with it. I think this is one where I have been able to kind of figure out some stuff as things have gone along. But also, like, again, I just kind of follow along. And so this is a really good one for it because they just make things happen. And it's a really good series. I do highly recommend it. Now, what is your next one?
Again, no surprise, but the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. Minus the 3rd book.
Yeah. And we all know.
We're just going to move on. I'm going to give a next one because, I mean, anybody who listens to this knows Stalking Jack the Ripper is the best thing, in my opinion, that there ever was. But anyway, the next one that I'd say for me is One of Us is Lying.
Oh, okay. New name.
I read, okay, this is a series. I read it when it wasn't yet a series. I read it when there was one book, and there was one book for the longest time, and it wasn't until, like, last year that I found out there were more. Oops. But yeah, I read this in high school, like, when it first came out. The best way I could describe it is the Breakfast Club, but there's a murder. And I really liked it. It did have, like, some twists. I really liked how, it really banded the characters together because, you had the bad boy, the nerd, the jock, the
preppy girl.
Yeah, thanks.
Was there a crazy girl too?
I can't remember. I think that was the person who died. There was a crazy guy.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't want to say crazy guy. I remember what happens at the end because I remember just being like, okay, I get behind that. Like, that's smart, author. I liked that. But the first one's a good one. Don't know about the others.
Well, and that's okay. Well, I'll do a twofer since you did. The first one is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is probably one of the few, like, classic mysteries that I adore. I remember reading this one. I can't remember if I was in middle school or high school, but I did read it when I was a lot younger, probably than I should have been. But I was so intrigued by it. Like, the mystery in that, there's something that just caught my attention and kind of held it. And I recently, I think it was like 2020, 2021, something like that. But I had listened to it again on Audible to, kind of refresh myself with the story. And I was just like, this is just such a good mystery. Like, honestly, like, I know everybody's like Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple and like all of these other like top tier Agatha Christie characters. And I'm like, no. And Then There Were None. And Then There Were None is forever the story that I will adore. It truly is an amazing mystery. Now, for another one, if you're following us on Instagram, This one might be a bit familiar to you, and that is the Countess of Harleigh Mystery series. The first book is A Lady's Guide to Etiquette and Murder. This series, it's really good. Like, it's just a nice little mystery that you just kind of jaunt along. There's a little bit of a romance aspect. I like the mysteries that are kind of set in like either Victorian or Regency era. And it's kind of like the women are trying to solve the mystery. The men folk are just like, it's too dangerous. And then they're just like, no, we're going to do this. I'm going to help you. And then they kind of prove that like they can hold their own. I love that. Like, I absolutely love that. And then if it's a series, the men folk afterwards are just like, all right, you can help. And like they go to them for like advice and help and everything like that. This is definitely kind of that kind of deal, but it's not quite as in depth as some other ones are that are on my list to talk about. But it's really cute. It's really good. I recommend it. I enjoyed it. Now, what is your next one?
This one, I am going to put we're going to flash a trigger warning right now. Trigger warning! So, this one does have some deeper, more mature themes. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, themes.
And it's called This Is Where It Ends.
Oh.
I think
you
know this one.
I know the cover of this one.
Yeah.
And I know what this one talks about.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is really, really dark. To try to keep this as friendly as possible, I don't think we should go too deep into it.
Yeah, because it gets deep real fast. If you look it up and you read the synopsis, you're gonna know it gets deep.
Yeah.
Real fast.
Yeah. I would say for this one, Belle enjoys this book.
I do.
But read the synopsis because it is intense. Like, Belle vaguely mentioned it to me, and I was just like, oh, dear gosh.
Yeah, our mom did not want me to buy this book when I found it at Books A Million. And I pushed. Aria was with us when we got it. Mm-hmm. And both of them were like, don't get it. Don't get it. It's going to freak you out. Like, you can't get this book. And I got the book, and I don't know if it's just I was always more mature for my age or what, but I remember at the time I read this book, because of the time I read this book, other stuff was happening in the world. If you read the back of the book, you'll figure out what I mean. I'm not saying that for you to go search the book, but if you have the thought to look it up and want to, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not pushing it though. But with stuff going on in the world, Aria and our mom were just like, you will not want this book. And I feel like for me, it actually just helped me in a way. I don't know. For me, it just helped me process things. It's not a whodunit. It's more of a why, which I honestly liked so much more.
And especially with what that book deals with, I think knowing a why.
Especially because, you know, when you look at what it deals about in the modern world, you never get that.
Yeah, you never get a why.
So, like, for me, it really helped with the why. And I don't know. It helped me. I'm trying not to keep this as light as possible.
Yeah, I think that is the only one on this list that is super dark.
I think that's probably going to be the closest one on this list that gets super dark. Again, it is a young adult, but it handles mature themes. Know what you can and cannot handle.
Correct. Yeah. Just, again, read synopsises and read trigger warnings for this one, because
I don't think this book actually has trigger warnings. I don't think it does.
Okay, well, do your research then.
Do your research.
Because
right here. This is your trigger warning. This book can be triggering.
Yes. There you go. We'll help you out. Read the synopsis. You'll know why this book is triggering. Just keep that in mind for that one.
Yes.
Okay, so the next one, I'm going to go back to lightheartedness here.
Okay, good.
And the next is a series that I actually am kind of just finishing as of when we're recording this episode. And it is called the Manners and Monsters series. These books, they're so fun because it's about a girl. Her mom is a mage who has essentially had a zombie curse put on her. And she is one of the few people in kind of the upper levels of society who got infected by this zombie curse. So there's zombies. There's also werewolves and like hellhounds and selkies and vampires. Like they're all there. Like all of the supernatural creatures are there. This is one where, again, she kind of proves her worth in kind of the first book that, you know, she can handle, because her dad's like a doctor and a surgeon, and he had her help him a lot of times with like autopsies and stuff, so she can handle her own. And the main guy, love interest, whatever, he works for kind of the police of the supernatural creatures, and she kind of proves to him that she can be really, really helpful because he's very blunt and she kind of smooths the path. And they're actually a really good team. There's mystery, there is supernatural creatures, there is some romance, like it's all there.
Weirdo.
It's all there. It's so fun. This is one where I actually did figure out that one of the characters was super shady. And then it turns out that that is the character who was the bad guy in one of the books. So I was super proud of that because I was just like, that's suspicious. For all of mine, like, it doesn't have to be the most in-depth mystery with all the twists and the turns. Like, it just has to be a fun little romp through. You know what I mean? And so I really enjoyed it. I do recommend this series. It's really fun. It checks all of the boxes. It's a good time. Do recommend. What's your next one?
Okay, this is my last one. I've talked about this one. I don't know if you want to count it, but I'm counting it because to me it is a mystery, and that is I Am the Messenger. Because it's the whole mystery of who's sending the cards and why. And this was the one I was thinking, like, I don't want to call it a mystery because it isn't necessarily 100% a mystery, but, like, I don't know what else you would call it.
Yeah.
Like, it like, doesn't fit anywhere.
Yeah, I Am the Messenger is its own little being. And
it's its lovely own little being. Love the book.
Yeah. And I think that in this kind of sense, I think it can be put in here because trying to figure out who's sending the cards, even though I don't think there's really clues to it.
No, it's not. But also, again, I think we've said it with this book. Again, this book does have some more mature themes in it.
Yeah, we've talked about this one before.
Yep, does have some mature themes. Not as bad as the other.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything that's too, like, for me personally, I don't think there's anything that's too, like, crazy in there.
No, there really isn't anything, quote unquote, too crazy. But the cards have places for him to go and people for him to help. Some of those people, especially the first one, does have a bit more mature theme. It also starts with a kind of mature theme.
Yeah, it can be a little intense.
It can be a little intense. Again, know what you can and cannot handle.
Yep.
Please. Again, I was always just mature for my age, and I read this in 7th grade.
Yeah. Well, the one I'll use to finish it out, it is called 2 Parts Sugar, 1 Part Murder. This is by Valerie Burns. As of right now, it's on Kindle Unlimited. So this one is actually a cozy mystery, and I love cozy mysteries. Like, I I need more cozy stories in my life, to be perfectly honest with you, because they're just so nice. Like, they're lovely. Anyway, this one's really cute because it's about this girl who's kind of like a social media star, kind of, but her fiance dumps her or something like that. And she finds out that her like great aunt left her estate, essentially. And so she just like randomly flies to like, forget where it is. It's like Michigan or something like that. She just like randomly flies there, and it's like this California girl like in the middle of like Michigan, and it's winter and it's cold. She like inherits the aunt's like bakery and house and her dog, which is like this mastiff. And she ends up finding out that like her aunt was murdered. So now she's like trying to solve the mystery of that. Like, it's really, really good. I recommend. The next book in the series is coming out in June, and I'm super excited for that.
You know what I'm just realizing? I read a lot of mystery and murder in high school. I don't know what happened to any of those books.
I don't know, kid, because like I know you've read like
I know I've read like so many books.
I know you've read so many, like, and like the thing is, I've read a lot too, but like the ones from high school and stuff, I wouldn't count them as like my favorites anymore. Like back in the day, I was real into Louise Penny, like Still Life. That series was real into it. And now I'm just like, meh.
No, that was me with middle school. Middle school, I don't know what the heck happened to me in middle school, but stuff was going down in my brain and it needed to not.
Yeah. So we want to thank you today for coming along as we talked about our favorite mystery books. Of course, if you like what you've been listening to, please consider sharing the episode with your friends and following the podcast. Both of those actions would really help us to grow the show, and we would be very appreciative of it. And if not, hey, that's fine. And it's not like we're asking you to go out and make friends.
Yeah, don't do that.
Who read. So, like, you know, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to make friends if you don't want to.
Yes. So, that being said, what are we going to be talking about next time?
We are going to be doing our first author battle.
Oh, lovely.
Yep.
Well, we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, if that's not the next episode, you know something went horribly awry in filming that.
Yes. So, that being said, we will see you guys next time. Bye.